That was once in a lifetime. That was one of the greatest round ones of all time, of all sports, ever.
I think, though, Beverly Hills Cop, RoboCop crossover needs to happen.
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Words from My Face. My name is Brian. With me, as always, producer extraordinaire Brendan.
Yo.
And we are the one and only home of the Chewbacca chainsaws. And you might have noticed we had something a little bit different to begin the show there. Just a little strange.
We had a good, more official-like opening.
More official-like. That's how we roll. More official-like. And now, if you can tell, I'm actually just looking how to get the rest of the YouTube stuff off of the front of my page so you can see me. And I don't know how to do that. I am technologically non-advanced. Oh, words
from my face. It'll go away.
Oh, wow. Hey,
that's why I'm here.
Technology. That is why I have a producer for this show, because if it was up to me to produce the show, there would be nothing produced. Yeah. Thank you, producer Brendan.
You're welcome. That is what I'm here for, and I know you couldn't do anything without me. And I wish I could say the same thing about you, but
no respect. No respect at all. But yeah, so that intro was brought to you by the fine gentlemen of Tuesday Night Special. So Rob, Jesse, James, Alex, you guys are the man. Thank you so much. That was an amazing song, and I really appreciate it. So now we're more official-like. So, yeah. I just get all giddy when I hear that song. I probably heard that song. I got it last week as we teased it for you. I probably heard that song 1,000 times. How about you, producer Brendan?
I'd say at least 1,000 times while I was making that the video for it last night for a while, and then just playing it back, and it's a good thing I like the song. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, it would be rather tough if you didn't like that song. It wouldn't be. It would make it more of a chore than a labor of love.
Exactly.
So tonight we do have our entertainment show coming at you. I know it's a little bit late, but the band Tuesday Night Special gave us the theme song. We figured we should have a Tuesday Night Special show. Made sense, right?
That was completely our reasoning, of course.
Completely our reasoning. There was no other reason. If you listen to the last show, don't forget that reason. It was completely this way. But yeah, so we got an entertainment show coming at you tonight, and we got a couple cool stories coming at you. First, we'll have Hugh Jackman wants to be an Avenger. I thought that was pretty cool. He actually leaked something at a recent interview that he was at for his, of course, the X-Men Days of Future Past coming up. Then we have, and I flipped the page the wrong way, then we have Kim Jong Un's new video game. Glorious Leader, anybody? Huh? Yeah, and finishing off with some Xbox price drops. Of course, we got some quick hits in there. We couldn't let you go by without any quick hits. But let's start it off with a segment that just, it didn't get better, but it got a little bit easier. And that is our horrible movie of the week.
What?
Do we have a sound effect for this one yet?
We do, but I don't like it anymore. People were telling me that they hate me personally for using that sound effect.
Well, use it anyway.
All right.
So, and this one is in, and this is why I say it was a little better this week. This one comes in from the listener, Sam. Thank you very much for submitting some suggestions. I've already taken your advice and taken that leap of doom, per se, to watch the movie Antiviral. And now this is more like, when you have a Band-Aid and it's been on your knee too long and you know it's got to come off. When you rip it off yourself, it just kind of hurts a little more. But when somebody just does it and just gets it done and over with, it makes it a little better. So this week I watched Antiviral. It had starred the kid from, actually, funny enough, X-Men First Class, the guy who played Banshee. He was also in Contraband, a Mark Wahlberg movie. So yeah.
So he's no stranger to sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah, and I got a problem even calling this movie sci-fi. And so this movie, it's really about people are so obsessed with celebrities that they even want their illnesses.
Fun.
Yes, yes. So
Because
people,
who doesn't want to be ill?
yeah, so people pay money to get infected, but with celebrity viruses. So let's just get right into it. This isn't really a review of the movie. It's just, yeah, some of the weird things that were. There was weird foreskin references in the movie. Didn't quite get it. So that was eerie silence pretty much throughout the movie. Like there's like people sitting in a waiting room and they decide to just let you sit there and be silent for 30 seconds, and it's just really awkward and just it's like, why are you doing this? This adds nothing of cinematic value to what you're doing. So yeah, don't do that. Well, and apparently not only do they want their illnesses, they also want the celebrity STDs. So
Well, that's an illness, right? So
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. One guy's like, I want this chick's herpes on this side of my lip because it would be like she kissed me there.
uh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not very good. Apparently, eating food that is grown from cells of celebrities is a thing in this movie.
Isn't that kind of like trying to be cannibalistic? Like
Yeah,
normally it wouldn't be, but because our DNA goes all over the place. But if that's your intention, is to essentially eat their cells.
yeah. Pretty weird. Pretty weird. That's say the least. And now throughout this movie, I get that they're trying to give us some symbolism, like we elevate celebrities too high. They're kind of people to greed, all this stuff. But see, here's the thing. I don't think that whoever's making this movie knows that he's trying to do symbolism. So it all just comes to confusing and stupid. And yeah, like every wall in the movie is white. I don't know. Maybe that means something. Every wall.
It's funny that you mentioned that you don't think that he actually knows. Because I was going to ask you, like, obviously that they're trying to get some kind of message across. Did any of these weird oddities that they mentioned work for the movie, make sense for the movie, or is it just there?
Nah, it just seems to be there. It's like, here, we're going to make this movie, and it just doesn't work. I'm sorry. It's just... towards the end of the movie, the main character starts sniffing and drinking blood, so it gets really weird. Really, really weird.
Sniffing blood?
Yeah, sniffing blood. Sniffing it. So
like a fine wine, perhaps?
I wish it was kind of like that. It was just a really weird, awkward moment. And if you were going for awkward moments in a movie, this one had a lot of them. So, yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a score because it doesn't deserve one, but it's going to get 1.5 Chewbacca chainsaws. It's
1.5?
1.5.
How do we even do that? Like, you keep giving me these halves.
Just play one sound effect. And there you go. There's 1.5 right there. 1 Chewbacca and a half. No chainsaw at the end, and you really don't want to deprive Chewbacca of his chainsaw. That just makes him angry. So watch out, director.
This does not seem wise for us to be throwing Chewbacca doubly into a bad movie and not giving him a chainsaw.
So yeah, it's not a good recipe. Not at all. But yeah, let's move on to things that actually, are like cool. And the reason we do this show, I mean, I should actually say this. If you have a horrible movie of the week, go ahead and send it to me at Words for My Face on Gmail, comments down below, Twitter at Words for My Face, or Google Plus. Please. Again.
All right. No desperation there.
No desperation there at all. But thank you again, listener Sam. We appreciate the movies. But let's jump into some cool, entertaining things. And let's start off with Hugh Jackman wants to be an Avenger. Yeah, so recently he was at a press junket, and I believe it was for X-Men Days of Future Past, and they asked him, what would you like to see Wolverine do? And he says, I'd like to see Wolverine be an Avenger. Quote, I think he would be great with the Avengers because there's a great dysfunction among the group, and I think Wolverine would fit in well. Yeah, because you could just throw one of the most dysfunctional characters into a dysfunctional room, and it should, I would actually think it would be a cool time.
It would be probably pretty cool, but it's not going to happen, because the licensing agreements, X-Men is completely in, Fox's realm?
Yeah, Fox's realm.
And Marvel cannot touch the X-Men until they default or something until they don't.
Well, if they don't make a movie every certain amount of years,
which they're doing.
The licensing goes back.
Hugh Jackman's dead, I imagine.
And then they're going to replace him with somebody else. I mean, it's not going to matter. They're going to keep that. I'm not saying they have to give up their license, and I understand these companies are cutthroat. They don't want to make any money for the other guy. But think about this: you can make one of these 500, these 500 million grossing box office booms, and really you could take half of the budget. Okay, so Fox pays half, Marvel pays the other half. That's $100 million. That's a great summer flick, and they both make 250. I don't see what the problem is there.
I'll tell you what I think the problem probably is, and I'm not a lawyer, so who knows, but I would imagine that would open the door for either side to argue, oh, we own partial rights to all the characters that were in this movie, so we don't have to do any licensing anymore, which is what they're trying to avoid.
Yeah, now, I understand that, too, because, these are gold mines. Nobody wants to let go of them. But there was a movie, you may know it, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where you actually had, I believe it was Mickey Mouse and some Warner Brothers characters together. I believe Porky Pig was there or something, or Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse were together in the same scene. I mean, it worked once because they paid them kind of licensing fees for both of them, so maybe a third party needs to step in and try to do this.
That's true, although I've heard the Mickey Mouse might be in the public domain because of being miscopyrighted initially, so that could have been, they could have used a loophole. I don't know if, maybe they did license it though. Maybe they just all got together and said, hey, let's do this. But that's also, a different kind of set of companies. But, well, actually, no, it's not.
No, it's not. It's the same type of companies. I mean,
Disney,
Warner Brothers and Disney.
Disney then.
Disney owns Marvel.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Fox instead of Warner Brothers, but who made Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I thought that was a Warner film, but was it someone else?
I'm not sure who made it, but definitely Mickey Mouse was in it. Hey, if you know what studio developed that, go ahead and put it in the comments down below. Let us know. We'd like to know. Okay. But yeah, I mean that's the type of collaboration I'm looking for. I want to see something really cool because I mean Wolverine in the Avengers comics, he was an Avenger for a good amount of time. This wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities. There's already a story pretty much based with Wolverine in there, as well as the Fantastic Four, which I believe that franchise is owned by Fox as well. So, I mean, you could bring some of the X-Men, and you could bring the Fantastic Four. You could actually do something good with a Fantastic Four movie instead of just making two horrible pieces of garbage.
Didn't they make it up to 3, or they're going to make it up to 3 pretty soon?
Yeah, but I think they're rebooting the third because the first 2 were horrible garbage. Now, I like Jessica Alba just as much as the next guy, but it just didn't work. Come on. She can't carry a whole movie. And then also you're going to have a conflict. How do you have Chris Evans as both the Human Torch and Captain America in the Avengers? So that might be a little weird.
That's the other thing, though. Why I doubt Hugh Jackman would be able to play Wolverine in an Avengers movie unless they did a real crossover licensing. Because you did hear, we talked about, I think, there are going to be some mutants from the X-Men area of Marvel in the next Avengers movie.
No, they're not calling them mutants, though. They're not.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. And they're going to be in X-Men as well. Both who is it? Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. They're going to be in both movies, but I didn't hear that they're going to be the same actor in both movies.
I don't think they would. Yeah,
because I think that would be too much of a crossover. I don't think they would allow that.
Well, hey, if you're that actor, that's sweet. If you could do both of those movies, that would be, oh man, you'd be raking in the dough if you could do that. That would be awesome. But yeah, so, and more about this interview, they actually asked Hugh Jackman who Wolverine would be best fighting against because, when the Avengers all came together, they all had their little fights, Thor and Hulk and everything, and he said he would fight Hulk, which, again, that's a storyline. You could do it.
I mean, all these things have pretty much been done at some point in the comic books by Marvel by now. They've gone through so many different editions because it's like all these characters have been around since the 50s, 60s. Some of them possibly even older. I don't know when Marvel started in like the 50s. I thought DC
I
was
believe
a little bit older.
Marvel's first actual character was in 1939. More on that to come. More on that to come.
Okay. Well, there you go. So they've been around for quite some time.
You ruined the surprise. But yeah, so I would like to see that. But you know what might be even cooler than all of those, just having those characters join in, would be like an X-Men versus Avengers movie. That would be awesome. Epicness.
By the way, one of our listeners, Ryan Celsius, actually just chimed in and let us know that these will be the same actors in playing Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in the two different movies, I believe.
I wonder how they're going to rectify that. That's interesting. That will be, and like I said,
that was going to be really confusing.
Lucky actors. You just got two of the biggest roles that are going to come out in their respective years. Probably the two highest-grossing films that'll come out in both those years. So,
and signed on for two franchises.
Yeah.
With different companies.
Man, you have a great agent. If your agent would like to represent us, hit us up at Words From My Face on Twitter, Google+, because we could use that type of super agent. That would be awesome. But yeah, so here's looking for a little love, a little collaboration between some people. Let's all share the love and give people what they want to see. Good superhero movies.
Yeah, well, we've had some pretty good ones so far.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
With a few bad ones tied in, like the threes.
Yeah. So we'll pretend those didn't happen, and we'll keep buying tickets to your movie. So
yeah, three is not the charm for superhero movies, it seems. So, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? But let's move it on to a superhero of a different type, and that's right. I'm talking about everybody's favorite cult of personality dictator from North Korea, Kim Jong Un.
Yay!
No. This is what the Korean people yell at Kim Jong Un. Live 10,000 years. Live 10,000 years. It's not possible, Korean people. I don't care what he tells you. He's not living 10,000 years.
Or that's probably the equivalent. I think bonsai is the same thing. The bonsai which we think of with Japan. I think that meant like something about the empire surviving 10,000 years or 1,000 years, something like that. So I guess maybe it's just a thing. Maybe it's just like long live the king.
Oh, well. It's still weird. But yeah, so Kim Jong
Un lived 10,000 years,
Yeah, he did. He also shot 72 holes in one in golf. That is a fact from North Korea. And he got hit by lightning like 8 times.
In the same game.
In the same game, yeah, because there's not 72 holes in golf, but he hit holes in one in that many. His legend is almost up there with Chuck Norris. I was about to say and Chewbacca, but Chewbacca's like out of the screen. Chuck Norris is just right in the screen. Here's Kim Jong-il's legend.
Yeah, but Chewbacca's a little unfair. Chewbacca's not from Earth.
No, and he's lived a lot longer.
Yeah, exactly. So
he actually has lived like 10,000 years, so he's done it. But yeah, so Kim Jong-un is getting his own game. It's called Glorious Leader, and in this game, Kim Jong-un takes on the entire American army by himself and destroys them. And it's going to be, that's right. Because this, better watch out, American army. Kim Jong-un, he might go Rambo on you.
That sounds crazy and over the top, but for a video game that's not so over the top, think of how many games you've played where it's you're one guy and you take on like entire base, special forces. Think of the Wolfenstein games and all that stuff where, or just any shooter game, you're one guy taking on everything.
Yeah, and so this game is going to be pretty much an old-school 16-bit run-and-gun shooter where, like he said, you just take out every American in sight. If you got a red, white, and blue on you, Kim Jong-un's coming for you. And this is made by a group called Money Horse, and this is going to be a PC and mobile game. And really, you should hear the way they talk about it. It's going to be a funny tongue-in-cheek game. So I'm actually looking forward to this.
This isn't made in Korea.
No.
This is a parody game. Okay.
Yes, exactly. It's a spoof game. They're gonna totally just throw everything they have at this one. They're talking about how this is the true story of Kim Jong-un taking over America and stuff like that. So it's gonna be pretty funny. I'm actually looking forward to it. And there's gonna be a special guest star appearing in the video game. Can you guess who?
Chewbacca.
No, that would be Chewbacca. You can't put them in the same game. It's actually going to be Dennis Rodman. He's going to make an appearance in this because everybody knows that's the biggest North Korea's dictator. That's his best friend is Dennis Rodman. So they're going to be hanging out in this game. So
is he the only American that survives?
I bet you he won't even survive, because you know what? He might have red, white, and blue hair, and Kim Jong Un might get offended about that. You never know. Kim Jong Un is one of those crazy, crazy guys. You never know. He might feed you to his dogs, even if you're his uncle. So,
honestly, though, I would kind of be interested and wouldn't be surprised if in North Korea someone did make a game about him, or he ordered the making of a game about him.
Oh,
and I'd be
I guarantee
kind of interested to see what would happen with that too.
I guarantee you, if they had electricity in most of their houses, they would have video game systems with Kim Jong Un games. I mean, you know what? I'm just going to be honest here. If I was born and raised in that atmosphere where I thought I was some sort of god king, I would definitely have a lot of video games starring myself, no doubt.
I'm just surprised he doesn't already. Like, honestly, he's got to get with the trend.
I would have an RPG. I would have a shooter. I would have a puzzle game. Yep, that's right, a puzzle game.
Platformer?
A platformer. Oh, definitely a platformer, where I'd save a princess, and it wouldn't be like Mario. But you know what? I could actually really, if I was in North Korea, I could rip off all these ideas I wanted to, because I'm not going to let them sue me for copyright infringement. I'll do whatever I want. I do what I want.
You can make a fighting game where Kim Jong Un or whoever you are is the dive kick character, which, for anyone that doesn't know, dive kicks are famous in fighting games for being a rather cheap move that someone in the fighting game always have. So you can be the dive kick character. You can be the.
So what I would do is I'd have a video game where, like, if I was Kim Jong Un, I'd have a video game where you're the character and, like, you're invincible to everybody else's hits, so that nobody can. And you'd fight a bunch of other world leaders like Bush and Obama and and Merkel and Putin and Cameron.
The Queen of England.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't know who the Prime Minister was, so Queen of England's way better. Yeah.
Because it would be so much better, more hilarious.
Way better. And I'd also have to throw in, like, Castro and Chavez, and even though Chavez is dead, so...
Castro's not even running the country anymore, I don't think. So.
I'd still throw him in there. Who else would you throw in there? And you throw in old-school dictators like Idi Amin and people like that. Throw them in there, too. But again, Kim Jong-un is invincible. But yeah, so check it out. It's going to be called Glorious Leaders, coming out to PC and mobile games. I believe both Android and iOS is getting a copy, so should be funny. Check it out.
Sweet.
But yeah, let's move on to one of my favorite segments, and that is Quick Hits.
What? Quick Hits? You never give me warning.
I thought that was warning me, saying let's move it on to a segment that I like. Because, you know, if you didn't know, people out there, we do go over what we're going to do in the show and the order we go in.
You shut up, okay? They didn't need to know that.
So,
ruining the illusion of the show.
We thought it was all spontaneous. No. But yeah. So let's start with our first Quick Hit. And rumors are that Universal/Legendary Films has a Submariner movie in the works. And if you don't know who Submariner is, that, I believe, is the first Marvel character ever. Back in 1939. He actually beats Batman by 1 month.
Well, I mean, Batman wasn't he was a DC character, so doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying one's Marvel, one's DC. I'm just saying he beat Batman by 1 month. Right, but most people don't know who Submariner is, and that's pretty much Aquaman, I believe, was ripped off of Submariner, so there you go. And a movie is in the works for 2016. Let's move it on to the next Quick Hit.
I refuse.
Damn it. I can't move on if you don't play the sound effect.
I think the show's over.
Let's just end it here. So, okay, I heard. Okay. And this one isn't really entertainment. It's just, I kind of find it interesting. AT&T has just bought DirecTV for $48.5 billion, making them the largest cable provider in the nation.
Did that actually go through? I heard that they've settled that they want to do it, but I think that they still have to get through the
FCC
justice,
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, the justice system and everything to approve it.
Definitely antitrust cases are going to come up about this. And I believe the actual total is like $67.5 billion, but they had to pay off 20-something billion in debt for DirecTV. Okay. That's the thing.
DirecTV too, like I think around here.
Never mind.
Isn't DirecTV around here bundled with Verizon usually, or is that Dish? Are they the same?
I would imagine.
I think that they're
Dish.
whatever. Be interesting to see what happens there, though.
I mean, you might see a lot of cool original content come from that provider because I believe DirecTV was already doing that, and you're starting to see a lot of different TV companies do that. So, yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these big players are now merging. Like Time Warner and Comcast. They recently had their that was who merged recently, right? Time Warner and Comcast.
Yep.
Or trying to still.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But let's move it on to the next quick hit. And that is the iOS app Weed Firm has hit #1 for the week. Most downloaded. And this is an app where you grow and cultivate weed.
Interesting.
It's probably as interesting as watching paint dry.
Yeah, probably. That's a fun game, though, by the way. Paint dry.
Paint dry.
Grass, right up there with Grass Grow.
Grass Grow, Snail Crawl. Yeah, all those are great games. Yeah, so I don't know who's getting this game. I can't imagine
people apparently.
Yeah, it's #1 on iOS. So, but let's move it on to the next quick hit.
You do this. You do this because you saw me taking a drink.
I did do that on purpose.
You're just a jerk.
But Star Wars Darth Maul is coming to a comic store near you, and this is to finish off the Darth Maul story arc from the Clone Wars TV show, which if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, what are you doing? How many times do I have to tell you? Watch that show. It's a great show. But yeah.
Yeah, and Darth Maul is one of my he's probably the favorite villain coming out of the prequel trilogy for me.
Way cooler than Count Dooku. Way cooler.
And he had so little. Like, he just kind of shows up and they have the cool fight scene in the movie, but he seemed like a cool character. I like that he had his style of fighting, his double lightsaber, all that stuff. That was awesome. In the Battlefront games, when you play as him, he's one of my favorite Jedis to play as, because he's got the throw, and it has the greatest range because it's the double-sided.
It is pretty awesome. So, and the Clone Wars, if you don't know, he comes back in that, and he has a really cool story arc that I won't ruin it for you, but it's pretty fun to watch. But let's move it on to the next quick hit. And that is Godzilla just came out last weekend, and Godzilla 2 has just been greenlit. So we will be seeing it probably in the next 3 years.
That's been happening so much lately, just something comes out, even before movies have been coming out lately, they've been green-lighting the sequel. I guess I'm not that surprised with Godzilla. It's not like this isn't the first Godzilla movie either anyway. It's not even the 5th. 10th. Yeah,
it's not even the 10th. So, yeah, I mean, are we surprised? No. But, I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm hoping it's good. A lot of people are really excited to see the reboot. I mean, Bryan Cranston is in the new one, and Elizabeth Olsen is in that, so it should be pretty good. But that's quick hits of the night. Yeah, so let's move it on to the last story of the night. And this is one that, I kind of saw this coming a long time ago. I think everybody did. But it's that Xbox has recently dropped the mandatory Kinect bundle. So now you can buy the Xbox One by itself without the Kinect bundled in, and that actually drops it of $100 from $500 to $400. Now, this was something that when they announced that they were going to do it, everybody hated it. I mean, everybody hated it. I hated it. Brendan, did you hate it?
I did not hate that they were going to do it.
You should have hated it.
But, like, why do I care? Like, whatever. They can drop it. The great thing, though, the thing that I thought was interesting about it is, I think that was one of the things that they originally said could not be done.
Yeah.
Like, there's been multiple things that, remember, when they originally announced the Xbox, and then Sony came out and like just tore them to shreds with how they weren't doing the kinds of restrictions that Xbox were done. That was one of the things that they said, oh, well, we can't remove the requirement to have the Kinect always connected.
And we can't remove the requirement that you pay $10 if you borrow this game from your friend. I mean,
they couldn't remove the always on and all these things. And apparently they could.
Yeah,
they've been doing it. Partially probably because they see that they're not selling as well as the PS4 because of these reasons, and clearly they always had that ability. Like, that was always Like, how could you not be able to disable these features? This is clearly not a hardware requirement.
And I don't believe the Kinect is like physically built into the system, so I believe you still have to plug it in. So if you can unplug it, I mean, really, really,
Exactly. Like, I understand that you may have designed your UI around using that system, but you can easily enough. Like, it's not like it was required to use motion controls. I've seen people. I haven't played the Xbox One yet, but I've seen people in reviews do it. They use a controller.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and now if I am an Xbox 360 owner, and I thoroughly enjoyed the Xbox 360. I believe what it offered. And now this is up for debate, but again, I have the system, so I think it offered more that integrating entertainment system into video game system than PlayStation 3 did. But when you look at the next generation system, Xbox One is trying to take it a step further and make it more of an entertainment system and less of a game system, and I think they've taken it too far.
I think what they're really trying to do is they want it to be another extension of Windows, but geared more towards your living room, geared more towards a bit more towards games. Whether that's going to work out for them, we'll see. I know a lot of people still don't care about the lower price. The people that would have otherwise cared about the lower price still don't care because they don't like the UI, which is the same as the rest of Windows right now.
I haven't jumped into the next gen quite yet, but when I do, I will be getting a PS4. I mean, just because all those things that we were talking about that Xbox said couldn't be taken off, and then suddenly were taken off, I can see just as easily being put right back on. Nobody reads through those user agreements, and I'm sure it's stuck in there somewhere. We might decide to mandate this later in the future, and that scares me. I mean, I just don't want them to have that much control over everything I do.
Definitely, and after the setback that they had from the original announcement, it really seems like this initial push is going to help the PS4 in every way, because there's greater sales on the PS4, which means more developers are going to target the PS4. As long as Microsoft's not actively paying them to do otherwise, PS4 is getting more stuff, and PS4 now is going to get some really cool features after the fact, like Project Morpheus. Like, that alone will be a big seller when that comes out, because that's the immersive experience that we're looking for, as long as it delivers what we expect.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be good. We haven't played it yet, so, But there's one other aspect of this story I kind of wanted to look at, and that's, since Xbox said, everybody's going to get a Kinect with their Xbox, you had a lot of developers devote a lot of resources to the Kinect capabilities, because if it's going to be mandated, if you're going to have an Xbox One exclusive, you have to have some sort of Kinect thing with it, right? I mean, that just makes sense. It's like after everybody could connect their systems online and play multiplayer, every game had multiplayer, even games you wouldn't expect. Like Assassin's Creed games had a multiplayer, and a lot of people really loved it. So you had these developers that had to devote these resources and develop these teams to making these Kinect games that are actually dropping people, and one of the big ones is actually the Microsoft-owned studio, Rare, has dropped 16 people because they don't need to have them anymore to make Kinect games.
Yeah, that's a crazy number right there, and
16 is not that crazy of a number.
Well, how big is the studio?
Actually, you're right. That might be a third of the studio. So that is no, I take it back. That is a crazy number. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've known big studios that didn't even have that number, people total. So, yeah. I mean, bigger ones have stuff. But also with this, it wasn't the worst idea to have the Kinect as a built-in device or one that was bundled in, because historically, you do see in the video game market that peripherals that are not built in suffer greatly. The Zapper gun for Nintendo, it took off great because it was bundled in with a lot of the systems. Like, there were models that were not bundled in, but it was bundled in with the system. Even still, though, it wasn't used for that many games.
But even then, it didn't add an extra $100 to the price, or I mean, even equivalently back in the '80s when the Nintendo originally came out, it didn't add that much to the price for something that a lot of people just don't like. I mean, and then a Kinect. I mean, that's something that can look back at you. And with hackers nowadays, they can hack into stuff like that, and they can look right back at you. I just think it's something that if you like, you should have the choice, and if you don't, I think the move they made was a better move. And I'm sorry if the peripheral gets, hurt about it, but, I think it's more like you pick and choose what you want to do. And if you can't make good games for it, then, hey, it's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. And you at least don't make it a requirement. Like you said, why is it a requirement? I understand that it's a built-in thing, and that'll encourage developers to develop something for it because it exists, because everyone has it, even if they don't have to have it plugged in all the time, or at least a lot of people have it. Unlike the PlayStation Move, which did terribly because one, it was released obviously as a response to the success of the Wii motion controls, and even though by all accounts that I've heard, it did it better. This was so late in the game that they released it, and two, it was a optional peripheral that you had to pay an extra at least $70 to get a decent set of it, and so it didn't really encourage developers to, one, people were discouraged by the price tag, especially when there weren't a lot of great games for it. Two, developers were discouraged to develop for it because people weren't buying it because there wasn't enough of a market there when you could just as easily develop for the regular controller, which everyone has.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that aspect of bundling it in to begin with, but you're right. Like, why were they advertising this as an absolute necessity to begin with? Clearly, they can take it out now. I think that. Yeah, and I think that
it would have gone over. Trickster rabbit, or what is it? Tricksy hobbits. That's what they are. They're tricksy.
The other thing is too, they didn't really message the new Kinect as significantly different than the old Kinect. Like, why do you need a new one? Two, what's the benefit? Is this just an old peripheral that now you're including? That seems kind of odd to include an old peripheral for a new system, which, from what I understand, it has improvements, but they didn't really. I didn't get that message across very well. Like, I dug in and I heard that there was differences, but I don't know. Did you get the impression that it was going to be significantly different than the one for the 360?
They pretty much made it sound like what they were going to do. They made better camera, less of a space requirement and stuff like that, and they tried to make it easier for people to use. I understood that it was better. I just still didn't want it. That's my thing. But hey, I think Microsoft made the right move here. A little bit late, but I think they still made the right move. And Microsoft Xbox isn't going anywhere. I mean, this system's going to sell well. We've shown that this market can sustain two systems, if not three, very, very well. So they'll still be around. People still do their thing. I'm going to get a PlayStation 4. That's just me. And if you want to send me a PlayStation 4, no, I'm just joking. But but I think that's going to about do it for the show tonight.
Okay, sounds good.
And so, hit us up at wordsformyface.com. At wordsformyface on Twitter. Comments down below. Of course, like and subscribe if you haven't already. That'd be cool. We would like that. Chewbacca would like that. Chewbacca. So, if you want to see more of those weird faces from producer Brendan, just let us know. But as always, I'm Brian. With me, as always, producer extraordinaire Brendan.
Yo.
And we are signing out. Peace. Takes me a little bit to the button.